Welcome to our new season of the Community Broadcast. I'm Sheriff Paul Kopis, and this year we hope to bring you stories and news events that affect the people of Will County. We plan on bringing you stories not just from the Sheriff's Office, but also from municipalities, other county office holders, and state government. Today we will be discussing the proposed takeover of the CNN Railroad from the EJ&E and what effect this will have on the Sheriff's Office. We will also share with you a press conference that was held today in regards to some upcoming road projects that will help create jobs and will improve the infrastructure in Will County. We will show you an update on the construction of the additions to the Will County Jail, and in future programs we will show you a video from the beginning to the end project and to where we're at now. But before we share these stories with you, I'd like to start today's show by introducing Chief Deputy Pat Maher on my immediate left, who leads the Enforcement Division, and Deputy Chief David Van Dyke, who's on my far left, in charge of the Patrol Bureau. Within the past several months, we have been working on a reorganization initiative of the Patrol Division with the goal of making it more effective for the people in the unincorporated areas of Will County. Included in this initiative, our department were able to address quality of life issues more efficiently. I guess the first topic that we'll discuss today is the realignment of zones. I understand why, but the viewers have to be probably informed what it entails. If you'd like to address that first issue.
Well, Sheriff, as you know, we think over the past several years we've been doing a good job providing quality service to the citizens of Will County. But over the past several months we've been looking and talking about different aspects of zone alignment, and we've come to the conclusion that good probably isn't good enough. We need to look at a new way of addressing problems within the communities that we serve. We need to look at how we can best allocate our resources to not only expedite calls for service, but also maintain public safety and officer safety as well. So we broke down our present zone alignment, and we kind of stuck it under the microscope and took a look at how we could do things better. And Deputy Chief Van Dyke and his staff came up with some good alternatives to the way we have been doing things.
I guess the considerations in realignment are geographics versus call activity, and of course manpower allocation. So if you'd like to give us the Reader's Digest version
Actually,
of that.
Sheriff, thank you. Actually, it takes all three into account. We're looking at calls for service that are generated from the public calling in. We're also looking at time in travel as it applies to response times, and also applies to geography. What we did is we opted to go away from the current zone system, as you're aware of, into an area system. We've broken the county down into 4 areas, the 5th area being contract policing up in the village of Homer Glen, which is a standalone area. We've assigned to these different areas problem-solving teams, which we'll get to in a little bit later. But right now the areas are divided up geographically. For Area 1, it's bordered by I-55 and the river. For Area 2, it's the river over to Gauger Road. Area 3 from Gauger Road to Harlem Avenue. And Area 4 from Harlan Avenue to the state line. Within these areas, we are developing sectors. We're getting away from the concept of zones. As you were aware, we brought on a crime analyst back in July of this year. And that crime analyst is going to help us set up what the sectors are going to be. Sectors will probably vary from shift to shift, from day to day, based upon the amounts of calls for service, also reportable crime. One of the things that we're looking forward to with the crime analyst is that individual determining for us our hotspots within the county, problem areas which we can address with our new problem-solving teams. Problem-solving teams are assigned to each of the 4 areas, and those problem-solving teams are made up of 1 sergeant and 4 deputies. Those problem-solving team members will work with a partnership with the community to address quality of life issues. One of the things that we did early on in determining what our areas were going to be and how we were going to reorganize patrol is we put out a public survey. And from that public survey, we found 3 things to be the most common that the public wanted from us. What they wanted is they wanted neighborhood patrols. They wanted us to address issues of gang violence. And the third thing they wanted us to address was issues of quality of life, specifically dealing with criminal damage to properties, thefts, burglaries, issues like that.
Obviously, he's been reading my teleprompter, and he just bulldozed into my topics that I was supposed to present. However, I mean, formally before, we always use geographics, and like we've already gone to it, the activity, and which sectors and the zones. Zones being before would be a street that designated this side, that side, north, south with a zone. Sectors, I assume, is going to be a general area that could overlap zones if the problem was in that direct area.
A lot of what we're going to do here, and that's absolutely correct, Sheriff, will be hinging on our crime analyst and what he tells us or what he sees as far as crime trends, as far as patterns, and also as far as quality of life issues, as Deputy Chief Van Dyke points out. And we really welcome public input into this, and that's why the problem-solving teams are going to be inserted into each of these areas, because they are going to be reaching out to the public. They're going to be reaching out to community members, groups, to find out exactly what the perception is in those communities as far as crime is concerned and the perception of crime. And we are going to address those issues with them in partnership, and that's what we really want to emphasize with the community, is that we want to be there. We want them to be our eyes and ears, and we will work in partnership with them.
I guess what we're trying to do for the viewers is, nobody really likes change most of the time, but we're looking for different ways to make the service better, and we're going to give this a try. If it don't work out, obviously we'll change it, but we think that this will work out. It'll also get the deputies involved and motivate personnel on the department to help with the better service to the civilian personnel that's in the county. One of the other things that's probably might affect our service or our response time is this CNN merger. The railroad, Canadian Railroad, with taking over the EJ&E and using their facilities and tracks. I know we've discussed it. I know that they've looked at it, and if you can give the viewers a better idea of what you think that might occur if this does occur.
David, I'll defer to you at this point on that.
Well, we definitely have different access points or train tracks that we have to cross throughout the county, from Frankfort Township all the way up into Wheatland Township and Plainfield Township. So we're going to have to really sit back and take a long, hard look at those crossings, how we're going to deploy our personnel, especially when it comes to the sectors, because we're definitely going to have an impact. As you well know, Sheriff, our Laraway Patrol Station is on the south side of the EJ&E tracks.
Right.
And all the crossings that are near the station house
Our ground level.
Exactly. So we have two avenues to go north of the county, which would be Route 45 or Route 53. So yeah, it's definitely going to have an impact on us.
Yeah, I mean, it's, they always say, well, keep a couple cars on the other side. Well, that's easier said than done, because if you get calls, you got a high activity that night, those cars might end up being on the wrong side of the tracks. And I being a train magnet, because I draw trains no matter what crossing I go to. So I can see this affecting response time and having people to recalibrate their zones. I mean, for instance, New Lenox, Mokina, Frankfort, and then again, like you say, go up north.
Right.
So that's a problem that we're going to have to look at. And of course, we're hoping the merger won't go through, but I kind of doubt that they'd be able to stop it.
Our concern is the fact not only the increased frequency at those railroad crossings, but also the length of trains. That's
that's another factor, yeah.
It's going to tie up those major rail crossings for an inordinate amount of time. And you're right, public safety is a major concern, and we're going to have to be very cognizant of that fact.
So yeah, and we'll have to address that. So I would like to thank Pat and Dave for the hard work and overseeing this reorganization plan, and for coming in today to share their plan with our viewers. I will make sure they don't read my teleprompter next time and cut it into my topics, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you.